Hi, Brother Christensen.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. Hey, how are you doing, Garrett?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Because I can get my headset or whatever if it's better.
Oh, no, I can hear you just fine.
All right. So how's the studying going?
It's going good. Been reading and studying, and the pre-exam helped a lot. And I just did my first attempt on the exam too.
Okay, good.
So it's not showing me how I did.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Some others have complained about that. I've been looking. In fact, I've even been looking recently just to see what was different about that. Why wouldn't show? But I can, before anybody else comes, I can let you know how you did if you want. Not really sure why it's not giving you the exam. That's really frustrating to me.
Yeah, because if I did really good, then I don't need to take it again. But
Of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure.
So let me see here.
Are we about to have a class meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, because I had literally just sent you an email, so I thought you were responding to my email with this link.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So here I'm going to email just so it's not public here. I'll just email you.
Okay, perfect. Oh man, I guess I have some studying to do.
Well, questions are tough. The exam's definitely the hardest part of this class, and it's like that in law school too. This is it's just those fact patterns that revolve around one little word or two little words sometimes.
Oh yeah. Hey.
But is there any part of this, the contract section, that gives you more grief than any other part?
Yeah, particularly like the questions that are more like there was the like if so and so promises to give a certain person a gift, are they obligated to that? And so those throw me off because I'm trying to find in the readings. The only thing I found in the readings so far is with like if relative or something, they're not obligated to it. Or like if a relative or family member gives you or offers a gift or something.
Yeah. So you're concerned about where is it where people become liable for something, or is it something else?
Yeah, that's where like where do they become liable and where aren't they liable?
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes, just a relative and stuff, it's a red herring because it doesn't really matter if you're related. If there's a contract, you're either bound by it or not. Only exception might be where your son, your 16-year-old son puts a baseball through somebody else's window. If the son can't pay for it, you're liable as a parent. But
Okay.
those are good. They're good questions. Hey, Monique.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good.
I actually had those same thoughts as I was looking over this.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like a really fine line. At what point do they become liable and what point are they not liable?
Yeah, it is a fine line, and judges have struggled with it too because once they make a ruling, that ruling will be used as precedent in a common law system, and so they have to think of what societal benefit will come from the ruling versus just what this one defendant or plaintiff needs in the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you sometimes get some judgments that aren't always clear as to why they went one way or the other. A good example is many years ago, a drug dealer, made a big, $500,000, I think it was a $2 million drug deal where they had actually a written contract for the drugs, and the guy that wouldn't pay for the drugs. And so the drug dealer came into court and said, I want this court to enforce my drug deal contract. Well, what does a judge do?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, did they just look? I mean, to us it seems reasonable to just throw it out, but to them it's like, hey, we had a contract. There's a deal. The fact that the substance is illegal isn't the point. We had a deal, and courts are supposed to enforce deals, and so the court obviously had to make a societal decision. Yes, Mr. Plaintiff, you are correct. You had a contract, and yes, and normally you would win, but I am not going to send sheriffs out to, under writs of execution to start taking his property to pay you for drugs, because as a society we don't do that. So,
Wow.
Garrett's question, I don't know if you heard his, Monique, was, at what point am I liable for my wife's actions or under contract, or my son's actions, or some relative? Sometimes that's a red herring. Uncle Sid, just because Uncle Sid didn't pay his bills doesn't make you, the nephew or niece, liable. But what if your 16-year-old son enters into a deal, or breaks something? Are you responsible as a parent? And unfortunately, some of the courts have made a decision. Look, you're responsible for what your children do, and
right.
it's gotten people in trouble. It's one thing to throw a baseball through somebody else's window and tell the parent, you're responsible for that, for what your son did. It's another thing when your son enters into a $1 million deal to buy a Ferrari from a friend and crashes it. Do they hold that written contract between two 16-year-olds? And I think California, actually, where you live, Monique, had the best solution to that, which is minors can't enter into contracts.
Yeah.
So, sorry, there was no deal. The fact that you crashed his car is more of an issue of either criminal law or, it's not contractual. It'll be handled under juvenile court, that you took somebody else's property and wrecked it. It may have been involuntary, it may have been agreed upon, but we'll handle it through insurance or through some other way. We're not going to call it a contract and have look at every provision of the contract to see which 16-year-old was right in the writing of it.
Yeah.
What other problems from the exam or quizzes do you all see?
So I was looking at the quiz, the prep quiz.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm talking about? And
Yeah.
there were, I want to say, maybe one or two questions where you read the question and then the answers had different names altogether than were in the example.
Oh, okay. So
it made it difficult to, I was assuming that the names were supposed to be whatever, Bob and Joe, where it actually said like Marshall and Mrs. something.
Uh-huh.
And so that was a little confusing to me.
That's a hard exam when you have that.
And that was just the prep exam. So
yeah. Okay, well, I'll get with the course creator, because the way we want to do it is if you take the pre-exam and you get 100% on it, you don't have to take the real exam and you get the 100.
Oh.
Was our hope. But if there's bad questions in the pre-exam, then we have to clean that out. So I need to talk to the course creator. I didn't know there were some bad questions in there.
I think it was the pre-exam where I saw that, and the other thing I had a question about is when you took the pre-exam, you had the three chances, right?
Yeah.
But not that I want to know what the correct answer is, but I want to know what I did wrong. I mean, if I answered A, just mark it that it's wrong so that I know, okay, well, it's got to be one of these other three. What is it that I'm missing? Is there any way that we can see what we've done wrong? Because it somewhat it makes it, I don't know, why would I want to take it the second time if I still don't know what it is that I'm doing wrong?
Yeah. So I think I talked
There's a solution to that.
Yeah, I talked to the course creator about that. Her vision for this was to give you an idea of what would be on the exam. And if you got 100 points, you wouldn't have to take it. If you didn't, at least you'd know what's on the exam.
Gotcha.
We didn't have pre-exams last semester, so these are all new, which is probably why there's some problems with them in the questions. But he also said she didn't want to have to do a whole appeal and explanation process for a pre-exam. But I agree with you, Monique. I don't see the value of this if it's not going to teach you what the right answer was.
Yeah, I agree. If it's supposed to be about us learning and taking away the information that we're supposed to learn, if I don't know when I missed and when I got right or whenever on the pre-exam, then I don't know where I stand. Okay, like did I?
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No,
If you miss it, you don't, and you missed something, but you don't even know what it is that you've missed.
Okay. I'm gonna take that back to her and press on that, because I think if we're gonna do pre-exams, we need to have explanations, like a review chart of, you didn't get 100, but here's the right answers, either for what you missed or for the whole exam, and therefore this is why.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, or what I could do is just populate the pre-exams with quiz questions that we've had. That's another possibility.
Yeah.
Make it easier to get 100%, and it also might, you have all the explanations in there that each of your groups provide, so it's not extra work to then explain what's right and wrong.
Right. Well, I just want to, if I made the mistake, I want to know why I made the mistake so that I can fix it the next time, or fix it in my own thinking so that it's clear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take a note here.
So for after we finish the exam, is that as well supposed to tell us what we missed, or?
Yeah, you should. So by the end of the day, I think the idea behind the exam, it should have given you at least your score. But I think the problem with telling you what you missed before everybody's taken it is then you'll take $50 from everybody else in the class and give them all the answers, and then they'll get 100 on the exam. So
You know what? It didn't give the scores.
Yeah, which is really odd. I don't know.
Because last time it did.
I talked to to tech support about it, and they're looking into it as to why the exam 1 gave you the scores, but exam 2 isn't revealing what you got, which is crazy. That's completely unacceptable. And so I've been emailing people, what they got on the exam, to know whether they want to take it a second time, like Garrett just a minute ago.
Yeah, because that's why I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This class is only the new class that we've done. This is only the second full semester that we've had it. This with new content, new textbook, Google Plus, and the iLearn 3.0. So lots of changes to it, and I know we're working kinks out, but that shouldn't be unfair to you for doing your best on an exam simply because there's still some kinks being worked out.
You're right. Gonna be writing an appeal for bonus points.
Yeah, you should. And I'm going to be, that's why I've mentioned a few times I'm going to be really extra lenient to try to make up for issues that I see that are not fair and try to make up the difference a little bit. But,
Perfect.
so, Monique, do you want me to send you your score?
I would love that. That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, I'll send that right now. And then you can decide
Perfect.
what you want to do. Or if you just want to appeal it or whatever, but you did pretty good, so. I didn't want to leave it like that in front of Garrett, that you might want to appeal this, Monique, because whoa. But, it's all, you can't really say it right, boy, you might.
You know what? Either way, you're not going to win, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm already digging it out right now. But Garrett's score is pretty good too. I mean, these exams are hard.
You don't have to lie. I don't care.
I know. You look at the score and you go, wow, I usually got this in high school or this last year in college, but the law school exams and the one for this class are just very hard compared to all the other assignments.
Are all the exams pretty challenging like this, or just?
Yeah, so in law school, I had a torts exam. You know how we did torts, the ambulance chasing part of this class? People getting hurt. Hate to say it that way, but people go, torts? What do you mean? Is that a cake? And then you say ambulance. Oh, okay, yeah, people getting hurt. When we took our first torts exam, because it's a first year class. The whole first year of law school, you take torts all year long. So all 3 semesters of torts, property all 3 semesters, 3 semesters of contracts. So again, you go really deep into them. You take a semester of civil procedure and a semester of criminal procedure. You take a semester of constitutional law. You take a semester of usually evidence. I'm trying to think of what other classes I'm missing, but it's really the basics of law the first year, and that's the hardest year. Then after that, you can take, violence in the law, corporate business law, you can take litigation, you can take, whatever after that you want, administrative law, agency rulemaking, whatever. But the torts, to your question, the torts exam, the first torts exam I had after the first semester was an 8-hour exam with a 30-minute break in the middle. And all it was a 10-page fact pattern that said something like, Garrett was walking down the street and a peanut hit him in the eye, causing severe pain and blindness. As he looked over, he saw some kids throwing peanuts at him, on purpose. And just then, somebody's dog came and bit the children, and then the dog was then hit by a car that jumped over the dog and fell into a house, and then the house burned down, and some of the ashes scattered into the wind and caused a forest fire. And it was this fact pattern of 10 pages long, and literally all you had to do was go through, mark down every potential tort, what it was, what could be the relief for it, what was the duty that was breached, the injury, the causation, and go through kind of your elements on this poor Garrett who just happened to step in everything over 10 pages and have this horrible thing happen to him in his life. And it took 8 hours to write everything.
Oh my gosh.
And it was very hard. My hand still hurts because of it, with all the writing.
I'll definitely be sure.
Yeah, so just, bear with it. We had a couple of doctors in our law school class who had gone into medicine and decided they didn't like it, so they came to law school, and they just said, medical school as a whole was longer, much more tedious and difficult because it was so long with 10 years of med school, residency, etc. But they said, by far the law school exams and the bar exam were the worst tests they'd ever taken.
Wow.
So, but it's only 3 years, so if you're a sprinter, sprint through it, get it done, move on. If you like medicine, go for 11 years and spread the pain out a little bit more.
I don't know which is a better path, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to sprint, and sometimes I think spreading it out is okay also.
Yeah, it's a good point. I like the law because, medicine's great and everything, but there's so much you can do with a law degree. There's so many people that, it's not just politics or law, it's business. There's people that, work, foreign service people in embassies. They like lawyers because they know how to assimilate information and problem solve very quickly. And you're really just a problem solver is what you are. Although some lawyers seem more like troublemakers, I guess. So Maxie and Lindsay, any questions about the exam or your group work, quizzes? No?
No, I don't have any questions. I was just joining to see what you guys were talking about, really.
Okay.
Well, actually, just thinking of it, I do have a question. For our grades, I can't see the letter grade I have. Is that for everyone, or is that just, have you already addressed that? I don't know.
No, it's a good question. So you took the exam and you can't see your grade?
Also for just the whole class in general.
Oh, okay.
I don't have the cumulative grade.
So is somebody else having a problem with that?
Yeah, I can't see that either.
Yeah, I can move great.
Okay, I know there's a way to do that. I'm going to try to do that right now to release that. So I think it defaults to not showing it, and then we have to display it.
I gotta know if I'm failing the class or not.
You're not, Garrett.
Good.
Let's see.
Now would be a good time to know, right?
Right. Exactly. Now would be a good time to know that. So let me see restriction. I'm just going to try to correct this right now because I know there's a way to do it. Let's see. Okay, display class average to user. Do you want class average too to be displayed? Or do you want to not know what the average is?
That doesn't
Sure.
matter to me. I mean, yeah, it's nice, but mainly just my grade.
Okay. Okay, so I think I did it. It's just saving right now. So let's see if I did it right. If somebody's online, can you see your grades now? Your first.
Let's see. Not yet.
Not yet. Let's see. What grade? Edit. Yeah, I know it defaults for no to not see it, but let me, I know there's a way to do this. So I'll just see if I can do it real quick while we're on. Edit. View. Still no, still none, right?
Mm-mm.
Settings, let's see. Manage view, right? Let's see here. Let's see, maybe it's at the end here. Student view, display class. Users to view. Oh, okay, I think I know.
Well, didn't I see that there's a midterm? Or was that just an exam?
Just an exam.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't be comprehensive. Okay, I think I know how to do this. I need to do it by hand, so hold on just 1 second. And we'll have this nice revelation moment where you all realize you have A's. You'll be happy.
That would be a miracle.
I was going to say that'd be pretty awesome right there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that too much either.
Okay, let me make sure this is working. You might see it show up in just a minute if I'm doing it right. Okay. Let's look in the grade book real quick and see if it. Yeah. Okay. So you should be able to see it now.
Oh yeah, I just got the.
Yeah, it's there.
Under final calculator.
Oh, yep. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank
Sorry.
you.
I hear a lot of thank yous and perfects and then a lot of groanings. Is there
Yeah.
a long way to go?
Wasn't what I was expecting.
Still a long way to go. We got a long road ahead of us. So lots of change can happen.
And then when will our exam 2, will that post tonight?
Yeah, you should. So Lindsay, let's see. I'm gonna send you. I'm not sure why it's not posting at least your score. It wouldn't be right to post, what you did, what the correct answers were yet, because people are still taking the exam. About half the class hasn't even taken it yet. We're getting down to about 6 hours left. But so you all are doing great there. But let me just send you.
It did say we could take it twice. I'm not sure if that was right. Can we?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you, because of all these technical. I want to be as fair as possible. So, I'm sending you your exam 2 score in case you want to take it again or just appeal. You're welcome to do either one or both.
What do you mean by that, or just appeal?
So at the end of every exam period, when you get your score and you say, well, I believe I was correct on some of these other things.
Oh, that's after we see the answers?
Yeah. Then you can appeal it
I'm
and say.
sorry. I thought you said before. I was like, what?
Yeah. So some people still aren't using the appeal system, right? So does everybody here know what Monique's talking about?
Yeah.
You can appeal your score.
Yeah.
Like to an appellate court, you're saying, hey, I want to make these other arguments, so I'm going to the appellate court, and I think I was right on these 5 questions. I'll give you points for the strength of your argument, even if I think you're wrong.
Can we get more than 4 points back on that?
Yeah, you can get 4 points per question, which is how many points the question's worth. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it looks like somebody did. Is that you, Maxie, that said you did the appeal and loved it? Increased my exam score. I think that was Maxie that said that. She chatted in here. But it's a good way. I want to give you credit for making a strong argument. And if you make an argument, even if you're wrong, according to the test, and the law is hardly ever black and white, like engineering, like math. I'm going to give you strength of argument. You may be more correct than what the judges have held, and therefore we should see the world your way. And you just need to. I'm not talking about a paragraph, like 2 paragraphs for every question. Maybe a paragraph. Just this is why I think what I said was right. This is why the textbook said this and I was confused about this, or I wasn't confused. I think this is the way the world should be. You know, I think uncles should be responsible for the debts of their nephews. It'd be a better world if families took care of their debts as an entirety rather than society eating the difference, or, you know, whatever your argument is. I want to hear it, and I want to see your creativity, and then I'll give you. It'll be like you got 4 points. You know, you got your exam right. There's no reason why you can't get an A out of this class just by strength of your argument. So if you don't do well on testing and you don't understand legal principles well, but you've always been a great arguer, you're going to be okay in my book, because that's an important part of lawyering, and you can learn the rest.
What if you're bad at all of it? Just kidding.
Yeah. Just ask all of your significant others whether you're good arguers or not, right?
Yeah, true.
Usually people aren't drawn to this class unless they have a little bit of an edge to them, which is always nice, because that's the way society's built the right way. I think the brown nosing and back patting, you know, is where we get into trouble.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But any other questions, concerns, hatred for this class? Love your instructor so much you're going to give me a good review.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to make it fair, because I know how frustrating these technical problems can be. I feel your pain, and I know for every pain you feel, I'm going to get a pain in the review if I don't make it right. So
Thank you for being so generous.
You'll earn it. You'll definitely earn it. Whether you get it on the front end or the back end, I'm fine with it either way. You'll earn your A.
I got to tell you, when I signed up for this class, I was very intimidated and very nervous that I would struggle like crazy. But in reality, I am enjoying this class, and there's so many practical applications every day that I think, oh, da-da-da-da-da. Or I'll have a conversation with my husband, and I'll say, look at what they just did. That's a violation of this and that. And he's like, interesting.
No, she's quoting stuff to me. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Medicine is how your internal body works. Law is really how the external society works in a lot of ways. And, you know, stoplights are like arteries. They, you know, traffic, you know, how do you regulate it so that society works? And unfortunately, until Christ comes again, we're stuck with an imperfect system of laws that then get changed and new things. So I agree with you, Monique. I think it's a fascinating area. My wife's really into the micro. She loves, she's in nursing school. She was in finance for a long time, and now she's switched to nursing. And I'm proud of her, because our kids are into kindergarten now, and she really wants to get a degree. Even if she doesn't work, she just wants to learn health. But I've always liked the macro. I've always liked the way people interoperate, and I think the law is a good way. You know, you can go into anthropology for that. You can go into social work. You can go into it different ways. But I think the law is one way to look at it, which is, you know, why do we have contracts? Business people always say, why do we have to do this? And then we go into they write a bad contract, we go into litigation, they go, oh, that's why we do this. Okay. And so this class can be very useful to you. I just got an email last week from a guy named Jonathan. I won't give you his last name, but he was in this class 3 years ago, probably the bottom of the class. He was not a very good student in this class. He didn't understand it. He fought it though, and just wanted to understand. He kicked himself, and he got a terrible grade out of this class. But he loved the subject matter so much that he went and took a few more classes, and then applied to law school, got in, and now he's, I think, one of the top 5 in his second-year class at Nebraska Law.
Wow.
And so he loved it so much that, you know, it just energized him to the point where it was like, okay, I can do this. I can learn it, even though I don't know it very well. He had never really studied it or understood law very well. But whether you go into business or whatever, this will help you. I promise. You will understand now better why there's a contract and why that indemnity clause or that limitation of liability against your own company is so important to weave in there and not leave out. And even if it just helps a little like that, it'll help you deal with society a little bit better.
Awesome.
I don't know if you saw in the news today, the judge in, where was it? There was a judge that Arkansas. Anybody see that today about the judge in Arkansas?
No.
Mm-mm.
He was apparently, after like 30 years on the bench, it was discovered that over 500 cases he had contaminated. He had found the other way because of sexual favors and things like that. And he was pressing upon defendants, that he would give them a lighter sentence if they would take pictures of themselves and send them to him and stuff, and men and women. And so this judge, I'll tell you, he's going to serve a lot of time. Even one of those charges of the 21 or so that they came up with carried like a 20-year judicial impropriety sentence to it. So he's going to find out the hard way in jail what it's like to be a judge in a jail. And,
it's going to be a rough road.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not going to be too good for him.
No,
Nope.
It won't. The three hardest times you can serve is being a judge, a police officer, or a child molester in jail. Boy, it's not I volunteer. I'm a church a jail minister right now. I've been doing that for over a year, and I'll tell you, they don't treat those three categories very well at all in there.
Boy.
Yeah. So my point of this is that the judiciary, is really important. And Elder Faust spoke at my grandfather's funeral. My grandfather was a judge for about 40 years, and James Faust had practiced before his court for a long time, and before becoming an apostle. And so Elder Faust said, well, this was in 1998. He said, we already know the executive branch and legislative branches have their contaminations, but as of today, I feel apostolically that the judicial branch is still, uncontaminated, fairly fair. And he said, I can't remember the words he used, but he said, woe is the day when the judiciary gets contaminated, because then there's no hope for any. And I saw that today about that judge, and I thought, boy, how much of that is going on out
As
there?
I say, how many more are there?
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton.
Oh, go ahead, Garrett.
All stuff with Hillary Clinton in the emails.
Yeah.
That's all getting. I'm not trying to get too political or anything, but it's just amazing how all that is kind of getting covered up and brushed under the rug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's a hard one. Who do you want as your executive? The corrupt one or the corrupt one? I don't know. You can tell the signs of the times are coming when only some of the most more difficult, challenging types of people get into office. And I guess I just wanted to say that's why, instead of running from the law, we should have good people like you in it, because it will slow down the wickedness and it will make a difference. If you leave it and say, the natural visceral reaction is, I don't want to get involved in this. This is corrupt. This is contaminated. I want to go do something else. We don't need more bad lawyers. What we need is good lawyers, like our advocate, the Savior, in a way, that will advocate for the people that need it, and will use as an officer of the court. So you're not just representing one side or the other. You're in front of a judge, whether it be in a business setting or in a courtroom setting. You're expected to also act like an officer of the court, they call it. So you are an officer of the court. You're a member of the bar, which means a judge can take your career and throw it away overnight. if you don't carefully and zealously, but carefully represent your client. And it weeds out all the, all the grandstanding and the ambulance chasing, so to speak, that has no, the frivolity that should never be in front of a judge, because the judges can say, look, you brought a case that you should have never brought. You dragged in a bunch of witnesses. You're going against a defendant that's clearly innocent on the face of it. You haven't even established a prima facie case. I think I'm going to suspend your bar. As an officer of the court, I expected more out of you. And we need more people willing to stand up to that standard and say, I'm going to represent my client zealously, but also not frivolously.
Yep.
So I hope you will, consider at least the law as part of your life, if not something you could think of later.
Hey, Brother Christensen, I need to get going to another class meeting.
Okay.
Thanks.
Can I end with a lawyer joke?
Absolutely.
Okay. So here's our lawyer joke for today. So the attorney tells the accused, I have some good news and some bad news. What's the bad news, says the accused. The bad news is your blood's all over the crime scene and DNA tests prove that you did it. Oh, what's the good news? Oh, your cholesterol's 130.
All right. Perfect.
Okay. With that, take care.
All right. Hey, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.